without getting into the politics of the last administration, but their auto pen, right? The same thing they're doing in the police department. That's going to come out. And it's interesting it came out in this lawsuit because that is a fact. They were at the midnight hour waiting for Caban to get in, even after 5 o'clock after he technically left. Oh, wait a minute. I wasn't supposed to say that yet. It's going to be in an upcoming lawsuit.
The auto, and there's questions of whether this was going on under Sewell. There's questions whether this was going on under Sewell because I got terminated under Sewell. She also apparently let Kaz Daughtry off for misleading statements, committing perjury. He got 8 promotions off of that. So there's questions about Sewell. I know people love to say, oh, Sewell is the greatest police commissioner. She was there for like 18 months. And by the way, she was seen with the self-admitted criminal mob associate, Jimmy Rodriguez, and up at Monserrito. So before we go and throw parades for this woman, she needs to answer for that. She's been quiet about it.
Remember, she didn't sign off on Kaz Daughtry's set of charges, that second set of charges for the false statements at CCRB. It was actually Pintos that signed off, right? That's one thing. So the question is, why did that happen? And the other thing is, you have to know how Sewell was picked. Remember, she went to high school with certain these people. So if you're going to hear about this in the lawsuit, I don't want to give too much information away, but we know how the connection was and what happened. And no, they didn't listen to her. And the people say, oh, she left because of corruption. Well, she actually says something more pointed than that. And I know about it. And hopefully, and this is a disclosure for the audience, that I represent Sal in his case, hopefully we're going to get Sewell, and then we're going to hopefully get plenty of information about what happened during her tenure and why she really left the police department.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to know about that and how this all went down and why everyone's allowed to hang out with criminals and hanging out at that place in particular and what the hell was going on over there. Yet and now you've noticed that all the same people are the same ones that basically delivered the tombstone on Eric Adams' political career. It all started under her. They all were going over to this place. They all thought it was, city for sale. And now they're looking around going, what happened here? But you saw it. Take.
Can I address one thing? Because QC Beast was saying that Sewell was handcuffed by the Crumbs crew, which is true. And they're saying if this person was a different mayor, she would have been great. I don't know about that. And I'm going to tell you why. All right. I've been around long to see the changes. First, they used Dr. Lee Brown, he was known as Out-of-Town Brown, right? He was the first black police commissioner after Ben Ward. Well, he was a new guy who came in from Atlanta and Houston. I could talk about those things with the Lampton child murders, but I'll get into all that. The bottom line is he came here as the first person, as a PhD, as a doctor, etc. And you know what happened? He was an outsider. And the police department, although we expanded the police department, that's been the largest it's ever been, because that was during the crack era and doing it when Eddie Byrne was killed and they had to burn money and etc. That's when we almost had like 40,000 cops easily. And it didn't quite work so well because he was out-of-town Brown. He didn't understand the culture. It's hard to understand his culture. You have to be able to really grasp this culture, institutional knowledge. Being an outsider is bad. With Howard Safer, he was never a police officer. He's from the federal government and the parole. And then, he was here, but the bottom line is he never really had a true handle on the police department. And the same thing with Sewell. She ran to the same problem. Actually, I reached out to Sewell, all right, beforehand, because I remember when I did the training class for the Nassau County Guardians, where she got promoted and other people got promoted all the way up to the rank of chief, and I helped them with that class. I remember specifically saying, I'll stop the practice of law. See, this is another little disclosure for the public. I'll stop the practice of law right now. You need someone that's going to cover you. I could be a chief of staff. I bet you they'll never cross you because I understand the culture and I don't play games with people. Didn't happen. She was done. Once she brought in the Nassau people, they have no institutional knowledge. They can tell you anything. And the same thing with Donlin. Oh, he's a federal guy. He's this. Yeah, being a federal had nothing to do with this monster. This monster, you have to really understand it. And culturally, you have to understand it. And the main thing is you got to have respect because a lot of this stuff is based on respect. He brought in Tariq Shepard. And as I made a comment about him in a tweet, and I'll say it, I've never met him before. And frankly, it's not personal to me. I call him the wolf in sheep's clothing because they put him there specifically to keep on carrying that BS right behind Donald's back. Donald didn't know because he has no institutional knowledge. And meanwhile, it did everything under the sun and behind Donald. So coming as an outsider, that's very hard, very hard. You have to be someone with integrity that comes up and have no problem with lowering the boom on people. That's the biggest problem.